Hi girls, welcome back to the pod. So this one's all about the skinny jab and some recent headlines we've been seeing that suggest people who've been using skinny jab are regaining weight 4 times faster than dieters. Now that's obviously quite a big claim, quite a dramatic headline. Some people might be rolling their eyes at it. Obviously, we need to be cautious about what we see online and in the papers. But today I wanted to kind of give you the facts so that you can understand what's going on behind those headlines. Now, the skinny jab isn't something I talk about very frequently because for a few reasons. One, to be honest, it bores the tits off me. I do feel like it's some people's personality. Um, Everybody seems to be on it, and as somebody who used to be, used to struggle with body image, used to have eating disorders, stuff like that, it's not necessarily conversations that I want to get involved in. Also, it doesn't match up what I do with coaching. So it's worth me saying, whenever somebody messages me and it says, like, I'm considering coaching or spending the money on the skinny jab, I will go back and say, I'll make that decision easier for you. It's not the same thing. Stick to the fucking skinny jab. Which I say without trying to be a knob. What I mean is, it's so different. It's like comparing apples with pears. Coaching is sorting out the root cause of the problem. That's somebody who wants to really lean into fixing the behaviours and beliefs around food, around the body, around exercise. It's hard work. It's psychological. It takes time, commitment, persistence, right? The skinny jab is about weighing less. And I'm not saying that with judgment because some people might be saying, well, it is about weighing less, but it's also about me sorting out my behaviours with food, etc. This is the difference. When you stop the skinny jab, if you haven't done all those bits and pieces, you're going to be one of the people that's talked about in the headline who regains the weight. Now, some people do both. And that's probably a really healthful approach, actually. If you're going to do the skinny jab, you're also going to get help from a coach, PT, whatever, to help with other behaviours. But let's talk about this headline and understand it. And I'm just going to stick to the facts. I'm going to try not to put anything of mine in here, if that makes sense. I just want people to understand why that might be happening. So, first, it's important to say that most diets that are nothing to do with the skinny jab, just people dieting, restricting, eating less calories, most diets fail. Almost 90% of diets fail. And by fail, we mean that the weight is regained within 5 years. So the result, the outcome, is temporary. Even if it's lasted a couple of years, it's still temporary, right? So that's why it's described as failing. So we know that most diets fail, most people regain weight. So why would people on the skinny jab gain weight 4 times faster? This is the bit I'm going to break down. So if you are taking something like Mounjaro, right, that obviously switches off signals in your body, it reduces appetite and it stops you being preoccupied with food. So it's a tool that you use to diet to create a calorie deficit. Okay. Now, because of the input I've just described that the jab has, people on it are going to be in a much higher calorie deficit than somebody who's just dieting, for example. A lot of women who are taking the jab aren't lifting weights and aren't eating enough protein. Therefore, month on month on month taking the jab, they are going to be losing muscle. There's no doubt about it. You're losing muscle mass because we all do as we age anyway. But if you're not lifting weights, not prioritizing protein, it's dropping, it's dropping. And the size of the calorie deficit that someone's in on the jab is speeding up that rate of muscle loss. Because your body hasn't got energy from food, it uses other things. And in this case, when it's so extreme, the calorie deficit, it is muscle mass, right? So you're with me, hopefully. Women taking the jab who aren't eating enough protein and aren't lifting weights are rapidly losing muscle mass, whether they can see it, feel it, or not. That is physiologically a fact. The second part, right? The only thing that impacts a woman's metabolism, i.e., the chemical processes happening inside her body that determine how many calories she needs to sustain metabolism, is muscle mass. Muscle mass, the only thing that determines that. So the less muscle we have, the lower our metabolism. As we age, without the jab, as we age, if we don't lift weights and prioritize protein, we lose muscle, our metabolism declines. Therefore, women gain weight and say things like, I only eat the same as I ever did. Yeah, well, you can't because you don't lift weights and eat protein. If you're on the skinny jab and you're losing muscle mass month on month on month, right? Eventually, when you come off it, you are now carrying significantly less muscle than you were when you started it. That means your metabolism has dropped. Therefore, your old beliefs and behaviours around food obviously come back to the surface if you haven't done something like coaching to get to grips with them, right? So all those old behaviours come back when you've switched off the GLP-1 that was telling you, go about your life. You don't need to eat. I'm not even hungry. You've switched them back on. Your behaviours have come back to the surface. You're eating like you were before the jab, but you've got less muscle. Your metabolism is lower, so you haven't got the wiggle room. You're going to gain the weight faster, and the weight you gain is going to be body fat. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm trying to take something that can be people can use quite sciencey terminology to describe it, or just like shocking one-off headlines. And I'm trying to explain it so that we all get it. We all get what's happening. So that's kind of the crux of it. Hopefully you understand. I'm sure anybody who was considering the skinny jab who went, do you know what? No, it might take me a bit longer, but I'm going to go for, say, coaching with somebody to sort out my behaviours. Feels like, phew, I'm glad. If you've been listening to this and you're like, well, I'm on the jab and I'm thinking of coming off it and I don't want that to happen to me, there's still time to sort out your beliefs and behaviours. And if you're in a bit of a predicament with what do I do now, I'd say microdosing, eating as much protein as you need, lifting weights, and doing the work on those beliefs and behaviours around food. So that's it. Hopefully it's made sense to you girls. Like I say, it's not something I talk about a lot. Girls in my community, are turning their back on dieting, and so it's not something that comes up in there much. We don't really chat about it, but I am aware these sensational headlines are everywhere. My mum sent them to me straight away. Then I went to the hairdressers, people were talking about it. I saw it on social media, so I thought, let's get a pod out and explain what's going on. Wherever you are in life, just know this, girls, as you age, protect muscle at all cost. Muscle can save your life. If life throws you a curveball and you haven't protected yourself with that precious, precious armour and internal scaffolding, you're going to find things far trickier. So protect muscle at every possible juncture that you can. Ta-ra!